That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps
broadcasting live from the heart of Europe. This is the most badass YouTube interview, broadcast, podcast, and all the known land. I am honored to have, I almost feel racist kind of saying this, some black guy.
What's up, man?
Yeah, what's happening? It's such a bug out having you on. I know that's old. Real talk always gets me. I like saying bug out. Yes, I'm from the 80s. It's such a bug out having you on because I've been watching you for over a year now. And one of the things that I and you tell me if I'm wrong about this, you are commentary, but you're not necessarily commentary community, Elvis the Alien, Chubb, stuff in that area. And you're also a bit, you have a touch on the skeptical community too. I'd say the TJs, the Thunderfoots of the world. You're somewhere in between. Do you think that's somewhat accurate?
Yeah, basically, that's something that I've actually been talking about recently, that I don't really necessarily have a home. Like, I guess I would consider my content more in the commentary community, but some of the stuff that I've talked about landed me into the skeptic community, and it's fine. I don't mind being on, like, you know, and crossing over into other things, you know. I think it's, but yeah, I don't think there's a lot of people on the commentary side that don't know about me and vice versa or something, you know.
Yeah, it does seem to be both ways, because it's like I don't know. To me, you're Thunderfoot with rock and roll. That's the way I would put it. I
would say I'm Thunderfoot without any of the actual, you know, work, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that guy like actually has a lot of like sources and citations, and he's an actual scientist, and I'm just some fucking guy that just talks shit. You know what I mean?
Then we have a lot in common. By the way,
yeah.
I don't have any kind of diploma either. Yeah, I've had people say that to me. It's like, well, what gives you the right to do this? I don't fucking know. Bought the microphone. Well, Keemstar bought the microphone. I apologize. And that's about it. Okay. In your own words, I'm going to hand it to you. Who are you, and what do you do?
Well, my name is Derek, actually, if anybody feels weird about calling me some black guy, because I know some people do. I mean, before this, I just worked, you know, accounting. I was actually an accounts receivable. And then this actually started to work out because of just, you know, reasons, getting pissed off. And now I just, you know, anything that pisses me off, really, and it happens to land in, you know, things that just have to do with identity politics or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just kind of have to talk shit about it. And if I'm not doing that, I'm just trying to do something music-wise, or, you know, be it like hip-hop or metal or something. Mm-hmm. And that's about it. That's me in a nutshell.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, I'm 29. I know I don't look like it, but yeah, I know I don't look like it, but I'm you know, I'm up there.
I didn't ask you. Well, you're only 10 years younger than me, like, or 11 years younger than me, so it makes me feel a little better. No, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you that because in fact, I didn't use a picture because, oh God, that was taken when he was 19, like 2-3 years ago. That's there's a certain picture, so I took the one off of Twitter. So I guess you still get carded, because I had the same problem when I was like 29 years old. I was still getting carded.
Hell yeah, I get carded. Like, it's crazy, man. People, it's fucking sad. If people don't see my tattoos, they think that I'm still in high school for sure.
Oh, really?
And it's annoying, but I imagine like 10-15 years it'll be to my advantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose. Well, yeah, you might end up looking. I didn't stop getting carded until I was 35 years old. You know, so I sort of know where you're coming from, but I guess it does have some upsides, and especially where youth is so important on YouTube. I think to get a point across, unfortunately, it probably play into your hands quite well. All right, is it fair to say, because I don't want to put you on the right or the left, but anti-SJW? Is there where your political beliefs lies?
Yeah, I would say that's fair to say. You know, there's a lot of stuff that people are, you know, try to label the type of stuff that we do, but I mean, it's totally fair to say, even when somebody kind of tries to say like anti-feminist or something, you know, to a certain extent, that's kind of true too. So I don't really battle all the labels. I'm like, sure, you know,
sure.
I'm as long as it's somewhat accurate, it's fine to call me. You can call me an anti-SJW or something like that. even though I would, I think I do a hell of a lot more than that. But it's like I said, it's not wrong.
Well, it's like it's political expedience too. I mean, you know, you could sit there and you could take the hipster route. I'm sorry, I'm not anti-SJW. I'm a communist libertarian with right-wing leanings. You could do all that and sound like a real jerk off. You could say, hey, sure, whatever, because nobody really falls in the category of 100% left or 100% right, or yet I've yet to meet the person.
Yeah.
How did you come to your current political beliefs? Obviously, you've taken on Anita Sarkeesian. You've taken on the recent, I would say, left-wing debacle with the OK symbol being secretly a white supremacy signal, which I guess originated in 4chan. 4chan does it again. Not my favorite people, but I like them trolling. They're experts.
They're connoisseurs.
How did you get to this sort of quasi? Because I think you're like me. You're government run. You're right leaning, but I guess for social issues, you're probably a little more liberal. That's where I fall. How did you get to the point where you are now politically?
Well, just I don't know, just sifting through just the BS, I guess. There was a long time ago, like say about 7 years ago, I guess I consider myself like a libertarian, and I just wanted, just hey, individual rights. Hey, everybody, let's stop being stupid and let people do what they do as long as people don't get hurt, right? And you don't hurt other people or whatever the fuck.
Gotcha.
And so I started doing political content. I got burnt out on that because it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was just set up a gaming channel. Like this was originally supposed to be a gaming channel. Yeah. But then I saw people like Anita Sarkeesian, like just attacking video games and everybody, Gawker, the whole community, just shitting on their demographic. And that just was, it's completely unethical. It's one of those things where you can't stay silent, especially when something like when gaming is like a hobby. So it just kind of just manifested from there, seeing people like Sargon of Akkad, people like that. I just got inspired to start speaking out because they were doing great work, and I just thought I should just say something, and people happen to like it, which was, I don't know, it shot off really quick from like last year around March. I had 300 subs, and then I did one video, and I got thousands of subs from there, and it just kept
I've been
going.
watching you for that long, because I think I remember running into you around the time that I got involved with Baited. You only had 300 subs back then?
No. That was not when Baited was going on. I probably had like tens of thousands.
10,000. Okay.
Wait. When did Baited start?
June, but it was announced around this time of year last year.
Okay. Yeah, no. Around June, I probably had like 50,000 subs or 40,000. But just a few months before, like March, I was only had a couple hundred, and I just did a video. I didn't even think I was gonna get. I thought I was gonna get maybe like 500 views maximum, because I was just doing it because it was about metal. It wasn't, but it was about identity politics and metal, racism and metal. So I just kind of put my 2 cents in it. And it was about that whole Pantera thing. The singer Phil Anselmo, he just did some Nazi salutes on stage. And I talked about it. Articles are written about it. It was fucking crazy.
Really?
And just from there, and I appreciate it. I appreciate that people actually enjoy listening to me. But I'm trying to be more on the comedic side now, because I think there's so many intellectual, like, just juggernauts that are just kicking ass in these communities or whatever you want to call it. And so I'm just trying to just have people, just brighten people's day. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of how I'm trying to go about it now. And that's just how
I think you're making the right move. I mean, if you take the whole, because I think you were like me, you were watching 2014-15, you're checking out what's going on in Gamergate. And I was doing a hockey podcast at the time, and I actually sort of maybe even subconsciously adopting some of the ideas and maybe some of the politics, because it was like nothing I ever heard before. I never heard somebody that was pro-gay marriage, but was for cutting social spending. I was like, oh wow, I'm the only guy that feels this way. And then I did notice there were guys that were on fire 2014 and 15, and they didn't change. They didn't become more comedic. They kind of, they don't, their channel, since Gamergate has ended, they don't have the steam that they used to. Chris Raygun, who I just saw in the chat, he was very different 2 years ago. Right now, I mean, you get a whole different thing. So if that's the way you're going, I think it's a right move, dude. All right, your political beliefs. There's no secret. that you are an African American, or at least North American. I don't know. You're Canadian or you're American?
I'm 100% American.
You're 100% American. All right. Here's the thing. Look, you command more power just by because you're the guy that the right likes. See, even a black guy agrees with us, and I imagine that does help you a little bit when it goes after because you can shut down a white guy in a lot of cases by saying, hey, well, you're white, that's why you feel this way. And if you share opinions with them, do you feel that sort of helps you get the point across? I guess suppose right before they call you a Uncle Tom.
Yeah, that's exactly what it comes with. But yeah, it actually helps, and it's a little bit sad, but at the same time, yeah, I use it to my advantage. Where like, just for an example, there's people on across social media that will not block me just because I'm black. If I was a white guy saying the same shit that I was saying, they would block me immediately because I see like people that I work with or whatever. It happens to them all the time, but I can talk to other people. I can talk shit even too. I can say some horrible stuff, and they just feel like, oh, maybe he's just a misguided coon, whatever. Fuck him. You know what I mean? Instead of it just being like, oh, this racist piece of shit, like blocked. I don't want to hear nothing. But yeah, it totally. I use that. I definitely try to use that to my advantage at certain points. And there's some people that I'm trying to reach out to, and people that normally wouldn't give the white guy the time of day. Sure. And I'm trying to see if I could build some bridges, have people understand why there's certain things that people or have a problem with, like say feminism, even though it doesn't have to do with race or anything, or just talking about, say, something like Black Lives Matter and why people have an issue with it, because some people don't understand. And then when I talk to them, sometimes people gain insight because they're willing to listen to me. They're like, oh, I guess you have the authority because you aren't a white guy, even though I think anybody can talk about it as long as they have a right. Of course.
But, well, I'm glad you use it to your advantage. I don't care how the message gets out. I don't care who the messenger is. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But it is sad that two people that just share a different skin color, that one's opinion could have more power, social media and old media, on the basis of their skin. I could say the same thing with if I took up social justice. I could go that route. You can't, when I say horrible things about whites or accuse people of white supremacy, you can't call me you can't say I hate white people. Look, I'm white. It probably goes both ways in that direction, but it is ultimately sad that two adults can't have a debate of any kind without bringing that something insignificant as skin color into it. Has there been anybody in your life close to you that either tried to lead you in another direction politically, or actually shamed you when it? Because I think I know the answer to this message. Actually, just to answer this question, is there anybody in your life that's tried to lead you in a different direction, tried to do that thing to you where they say, listen, you're just confused, you don't understand, I'll help you? Have you ever had that guy or that girl?
Surprisingly, there hasn't been too much. Only when I was younger. There was my family that lives in LA. They have, they have their ways, they're very, religious, Baptist Christians, sure. And they have their thoughts and opinions about other races and stuff too. And when I was young, there was a lot of indoctrination trying to take a hold, but for some reason it never worked on me. I was always asking questions. I was always confused about certain things. As I got older, anybody that tried to say anything to me, to try to challenge me or my beliefs, I was just better at, having more of a critical thought process and asking people like, well, why do you think that? And then they kind of becoming dumbfounded, not knowing why they think the way that they do. And so I think I haven't ran into too much bullshit. The only one to say that my brother and I, we clash a lot. He's a little bit older. He's very extremely left leaning, like to the point where almost like I would say he's progressive. So when we talk about some serious issues, it can get pretty heated, even though I'm trying to stay calm. Yeah. But he gets so mad at me when I suggest, maybe, hey, maybe these progressive ideology isn't such a good idea. And that's about it. Anybody else, they kind of just, most people are uninterested in this stuff. Like when you
That's
think
true.
about the grand scale of people, they don't give a fuck about this
That's
stuff.
true. It's funny because I found being in the Army for almost 10 years that the left liberals always saw us as a bunch of conservatives that were all marching around each day and just we're just so that couldn't have been farther from the truth. I would say 90% of soldiers don't care. One way or another, they're just either interested in whatever they're trying to get out of the Army or interested in being a soldier. So when you do speak politics, you do speak to a small amount of people at the end of the day. I think what I was more talking about, did anybody ever come up to you and say it was very condescending, a family member, something like that? Well, it sounds like your brother wouldn't be that guy because you guys are at least debating, and said, look, there's something wrong. Let me help you. I know you're a little confused. Let me bring you into the light. Did you ever have that moment with anybody?
Okay, I guess the only thing that I can think of was this was a moment back in like 2011. I went to dinner with this girl, and I didn't know her political ideology at all. And she was, I knew she was liberal, but I didn't know how passionate she was.
Sure.
And I thought it would be fine because like I said, I consider like most of the things that I agree with would land on a liberal point of view. Not everything. Like I said, it's just a mix. But anyways, when we started talking about stuff, especially the issue of like gun control, that's when things just got really heated, and she was just like trying to help me and understand why my position's wrong, and I need to understand. It was so fucking weird. We were just talking about stuff that I thought wasn't a big deal, like things that people know about. People aren't going to do as much crime in an area that they know there's everybody has a fucking gun. Are you going to rob that place, or are you going to rob the place where people are unarmed? I mean, I'm just saying, like, I was just trying to be more, shit got weird from there. And she was I guess she was looking at me like I was a mental patient after a while.
Pretty condescending, isn't it?
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, let me help you understand." Like say like she has the authority. She's 100% right, and it got to the point where she walked out. She actually
really walked out. Yeah. So this is a date. Tell me this is a date.
This was a legit date. Yeah, it was fucking weird, man.
Oh wow.
I never had.
The answer is yes. You were shamed. She walked out, and you were spoken to in a condescending. You obviously don't have the courage of your own convictions, or you can't think on your own. That's what I was really wondering. Because I mean, I've had obviously, because I was black or white or anything, but I've had people talk to me that way, growing up in a red state, New Jersey, and just said, "Oh, silly you, dude. I'm 29, dude." I didn't come to this overnight. Well, let me speak to you. Like, just if they were to repeat themselves over and over and then ignore any kind of rebuttal, like it just didn't happen, or I just didn't say those things. It was always just that I just truly didn't understand. And that's when I started realizing I had that experience once before. It's with church. When I started saying wise things, like when I was growing up Catholic and making cracks or jokes or questioning or something like this, initially you're taken in with, come on, let me tell you how great Jesus is, right? And then when you're like, this is now you're a bad person. And I feel that same way, and I see it all the time. And I just had a feeling it happened to you. I see that all the time with the SJWs. At first, you get a chance to think like them, and then there is the ultimate. There's the punishment, and that sounds like what pretty much what happened to you. Let's see. What else do I got? Here's a tough question. I was going to save this for Chris Reagan on Catch 33, so I'm going to probably give him a heads up. How effective, whether they are left or right, whether they were pro-Trump or not Trump, how effective do you think anti-SJW YouTubers played a role? Actually, how much of a role did they play in the election of Donald Trump?
That's an interesting question, and sorry, Chris, I'm gonna steal this one from you. And actually, I think it actually played a lot more than people really imagine. And it's because something that I saw happening, and something that I kind of I saw that there was so many people that were jumping on the Trump train or whatever, just so sick of like the identity politics and fucking everything and all this SJW banter, and people being very quiet. But you can talk to people individually and saying that, oh yeah, I'm supporting Trump even for XYZ, for a lot of this just bullshit reasons. And I feel like, say, that's some of the shit that people were being quiet, and then they just, when it was voting day, they all came out and it was kind of like a giant fuck you. I really think there was also the whole thing of Hillary seemed like she really wanted to go to war, right? She really, and people were like, fuck that, that's why they voted for Trump, and now like shit's happening with that too. But I think a lot more than people realize, especially people that don't really pay attention to all this stuff, and they're totally confused. How could Donald Trump win? They just don't understand whatsoever. It's just because they don't understand.
We're talking about people that don't know that PewDiePie is really not a Nazi, nor did he have any association with the Nazi party, because they're told this whole thing. And I was telling my father this because he's a Reagan conservative. And I was like, there's this whole movement online, and these guys are a lot more right-wing than I've seen in past generations, and they crush the liberals. They crush them. Most of even the guys that are solid liberals like TJ and Thunderfoot. I mean, the far left or really even people in the Democratic Party just can't deal with them. They really don't understand what's going on. And I'm gonna go one step further. I think Hillary Clinton's lack of ability to understand. I think one of the things the left was always when I was a kid is they were way cooler. They were way more fun. It was just like you could be a rebellious person and be a leftist. That is no longer the case. Now, if you have just a tinge of right, you are now hipper or cooler. And the subcounts are the proof in the pudding here on YouTube. And it influenced a great many young people and probably of voting age. And it's like you said, it was a big fuck you. It was a rock through a window. I don't even know if I like Trump that much, but I like the fact that he got elected.
Well, that was the best thing about it, because a lot of people got pissed off. I actually lost a few hundred subs when I said that I wasn't voting, just because of older, the politics I was into, and just the whole like just diverting. I hate the whole left-right paradigm where you have to choose these two fucks.
Sure.
And it's kind of like just for me, I was just like, I still can't support this shit. Sorry. So a lot of people that were on the Trump chain were like, well, fuck you then, unsub.
Yeah, right.
And however, when Trump won though, because I definitely preferred him over Hillary, so I was I was so gleeful. It was so funny. It was so great.
Just to watch them suffer. I mean, it was just to watch them suffer. And it has a lot to do with identity politics and how cult-like it is. I mean, you just like you said, you went on a date with a girl, you had a distance, she walked out on you. Because why? Ultimately,
on fucking gun control, man. It wasn't even that big of a deal.
I mean, at one point in the conversation, somebody could have said to you, and I think your incident is important because I think it happens all the time to lots of different people. And it just seems like if you don't, there is on the left, there does seem to be this. If you aren't with us, or you are a white supremacist, you are a bad person. There is where can I put you on? Are you a transphobe? Are you a white supremacist? Are you an Uncle Tom? Are you this, that, and the other thing? And there's another group that does that. Scientology. They call you a suppressive person. They just have one word. And I see so much, especially and Sargon's been going on about this lately, the behavior of the Resist Trump movement, which is now getting violent. It's actually getting, no one's talking about that. The left's actually really getting violent, like for real. It does seem that if you go against the Church of SJW, they will put you in that SP suppressive persons category. And I've seen situations like with Thunderfoot, actually going after, calling the Czech Republic and trying to get him fired. I mean, it does feel more like, I know liberal people. I know liberals aren't all insane, but the wing, like the wing of the Democratic Party now, and there's no check and balance to it whatsoever. You could find people on the Republican Party that say, you know what, these Christian Bible Belt types, they're nuts. You don't see them speaking out on the left against, at least the way I see it, you don't see them speaking out against these SJWs, which are extremely toxic and cult-like. I don't know, are you with me on that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the biggest problems with that the left are facing. And it's not only that, because like they always say that it's the vocal minority. They're the ones that usually represent your group or whatever, and that's exactly what's happening. And people aren't speaking out and saying, okay, enough is enough. Like, we can't give these people fucking platforms, or like, I remember what was it, like some DNC chairperson, I guess, because she's a woman. So
Yeah.
chairman, but no,
Debbie
but that's my whole
Wasserman
fuck-
Schultz. Debbie Wasserman
Yeah.
Schultz, probably, because she was the last DNC chair. But go ahead.
Okay. Was she the one that she saying like, oh, it's time for like white people to shut up?
Oh no,
and-
yeah,
No?
it's time for white people to kind of throw up their hands.
Yeah, some
and
shit
just
like that,
Oh,
or-
step aside.
Step aside.
They
yeah.
did. I got news for you. They did. You lost Wisconsin and Michigan. I mean, they did. They did. And there's a new book about called Shattered that apparently Bill Clinton was in the Hillary campaign telling, hey, we got to remember the Rust Belt. Hey, there's white people up there. Fuck them. Okay.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy though that
Yeah.
this kind of no, that type of rhetoric is in the forefront in a lot of places, and they don't understand why people are getting pissed the fuck off. Like,
No, they don't understand.
It's like an anomaly to me. I was like, how do you not understand? Like, you can't say that to any fucking race. You can't do it. You can't say fuck XYZ and have people be all cool with it. It's like, oh, just because they're the majority. I don't. The majority of people that live in the United States, you're gonna try to shit all over them. How is that gonna work out for you? That just doesn't make any sense.
You know
to
what it
me.
sounds like to me, because I used to hear about this. I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but I remember when Nelson Mandela was let out of South Africa, and prior to apartheid coming apart, you would hear whites in white South Africans saying blacks love living under apartheid. like, give me a fucking break. Of course they don't. And I think that's why. And I wonder if some of those people really meant it, and they were just being honest, that they were taught this, or they came to believe this in some manner. And I think that's why they can't put their finger on the pulse of the whole thing, because they're so convinced that they're right. So they could just say something insane, like, I mean, what does checking your privilege really mean? Does it mean surrendering? It sure feels like it. Surrendering your identity, living in constant shame for something you had nothing to do with. I don't even know, like, what does it entail? It sounds religious. Check your privilege, confess your sins.
It's in a certain way. I feel like somebody understands how to control people, and those are the type of people that started spewing this stuff, knowing that when you just guilt people, just guilt is so strong. It's like the strongest way to control people. I mean, they've known that, religiously, and it's just now, that's why white guilt is such a huge fucking thing. And look, it's working. Look at the results. But now I think it's starting to, there's a large pushback, obviously, with Trump and everything like that. So the only thing that I'm concerned with is it going on the complete other, the other opposite spectrum.
I worry about that too. I do.
Yeah.
I worry about, like, okay, after we push back the SJWs and they're in the dustbin of history, do we have a rash of radical, maybe legitimate white supremacist type thinking? I worry about that myself, but I think it's like 10, 15 years down the line. I think we're right in the middle of the battle now. And I would hope, but people just being people, whether it be on the left or the right, I do wonder about, are we going to take too hard a shift to the right? The reason I don't think it's going to happen is these people that are pushing this. Remember I said before that liberals aren't really pushing back against SJWs? I'm wrong. YouTube liberals are. They're always pushing back against SJWs. They've actually led the fight, if you really think about it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I got to take back that. But I do think that this right-wing movement, if you could even call it that, I think it's got enough balance. People that are pro-gay marriage and people that are, maybe want to cut a little spending. I think that's I think that's a nice balance, and I don't think I don't think people are inherently racist. I don't think they are. I don't think it's I don't think racism is systemic like it used to be. It just seems to, where I see racism is impoverished communities on both ends. I think it's an issue of poverty at the end of the day. That's where I see open bigotry, is people that you wouldn't care if they called you a bad name anyway, because they don't have much to say. I certainly don't see it in schools. I certainly don't see it anywhere else. I mean, would you agree to that? Or have you experienced maybe have you experienced somebody that maybe was agreeing with you, but you thought they maybe were, I don't know, a little racist?
I mean, growing up, not necessarily, but now since I've been on the internet so actively, there's people that, you know, it is a little unnerving seeing people that they consider me an ally, but at the same time, normally if I wasn't the way that I was brought up, they probably wouldn't even give me a time of day. Like if my name was Leroy or Tyrone, and I just had, you know, I just looked like I was completely just decked out into some urban, you know, culture or some shit, they would probably just smirk at me and be like, "Oh, look at this filthy fucking nigger." You know what I'm saying? Like,
I gotcha. Yeah, I
and that's a little annoying. That's a little annoying, but at the same time, I do understand, because even, you know, I always say this that people really, whatever race you are, you usually hate your the stereotypes of, you know, of your race. You know, usually, like, say that there's, you know, one of my Asian friends, like, oh, the stereotypical book nerd, you know, Asian, good at math shit is stupid. The cholos, you know, because I have a lot of Hispanic friends since I live in SoCal.
Yeah.
And all that shit, and just you know, thugged out black people especially when I lived in LA, it's a fucking nuisance. So I understand why some people get all mad about that shit, but I know, I guess I digress on that, but it's I don't know, man. It isn't that bad. I'm gonna tell you, like, things aren't, for the most part. People are pretty chill, man.
Have you ever feel like you've been kept out of a job or something serious? I'm not saying just call the N-word, because at the end of the day, that's somebody calling your name. Does anybody ever kept you from doing something to move forward because of your skin color?
Well, there's always speculation and not knowing what
you never know
for sure.
Yeah.
I know one time, absolutely, I would point it to, and this was a job. I was just unloading trucks. And I thought I was kicking ass. I thought I was doing a great job, but the dude, you know, my manager, he just didn't fucking like me.
Yeah.
And I can tell why. And, you know, the dudes would be, you know, messing around all the time, having a good time. And anytime I said anything, he would be like, "Hey, be quiet." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, right.
And
was he a poor white guy? Let me guess.
Okay, no, he was actually he was a really uptight Hispanic dude. He was.
Oh, really? So was he even?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just think because you know, there are some people, like, say one of my closest friends, his parents are extremely racist. I mean, they like me. I've been friends with them for, you know, well over a decade.
Well, you're okay. You can come over.
Yeah, they're cool, but like, you know, they just say a bunch of horrible shit, and I'm like, wow, you know, it happens. It's sometimes a generation thing, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, this dude just, well, for whatever reason, and I'm assuming it was my skin color, or he just didn't fucking like me, and they need to let somebody go. They let me go, even though there was a guy that was late every fucking day, no joke. There was two guys that just showed up and weren't even past their probation period, and they let me go. And I was gonna I was just like, fuck it, whatever. I just don't care anymore. I took but yeah, that was one time that I can really pinpoint it. But I'll be honest, there's a lot of times that I feel like I've gotten jobs or I've gotten advantages because of the whole, like, you know, affirmative action type thing.
Sure.
Even like my first job, I know why they hired me. My first job was at, you know, I hate to say it was at Hot Topic, you know, but I knew it. I'm a fucking.
I gotta be honest with you, that hat, you look like you work at Hot Topic. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Hey, fuck off. Look, I worked there. I knew I was gonna get a job there because I knew they would like, oh, here's a black guy that's in the metal. When I applied and told them about myself, they called me like 2 days later, and then I got the job on the third day. Because they were just so excited, you know. They were like, "Oh, this is cool. It's a rare Pokemon, you know." And so it was cool. And I think I've gotten other jobs like that too.
Sure.
I think I've gotten a lot more advantages than disadvantages. No, and I think that's why some white people are fucking angry, because they're like, "Oh, I have to work so much harder and shit's handed to you." I'm like, "Well, fuck you. I work hard too, man. Don't." I'm just saying sometimes.
It ain't your fault that you gotta. I mean, I'm not the most pro affirmative action type, but if it helps you, take advantage of it. Who gives a shit? It's not your fault that the laws was passed or not passed, and you know, I think there was a time when things like that were necessary, if not I would think after the civil rights movement, a law like that needed to take place. I'm not so sure anymore. But I mean, if you're I knew a guy that he was like a quarter American Indian, and he fucking checked that shit in the box, and he could prove it that he was like half American Indian or something like that. And it does help you move forward. Take advantage of it. Don't be ashamed of it. It is what it is.
Right?
Yeah, just do it, man. Who cares, man?
Like I said, it's one of those things where if like that shit was completely shut down, like there was no such thing as it anymore, I wouldn't be angry. I'd be like,
Gotcha.
Okay, no problem. But if it's there, why not? I mean, I guess it's the same way how a lot of companies will get tax waivers and whatever because it's there. And then some people will be like, if it's not there, like Trump says, if all these backdoor and all these waivers and all this bullshit, if it wasn't there anymore, he would be like, oh well. But if it is there, I'm gonna use it.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, well,
should be. Use it.
I get it.
Nothing to be ashamed of either. It is what it is. It's you didn't pass the law, and I'd take advantage of it. So basically what you're saying, being black is a lot like being white or being a girl. There's some upsides and downsides, just like everybody else. Something like that.
Basically, man, it's all like it's all the same, and something that I don't know. Let me just say this real quick.
Sure.
I was hanging out with this black girl a few days ago, and it was interesting because she was as southern as you can get. I mean, the accent it was fucking crazy, but she was a huge Trump supporter. And so it was weird. It was the strangest thing ever. But one thing that kind of pissed me off, and this is what I always see like a lot of black people talking about, is that they're like, black people have to get into crime and sell drugs because there's no jobs, this and that and shit. And I'm like, dude, you can't. There's a small kernel of truth to that, right? But the thing is that angers me is I see an example like my mom. I talk about my mom every once in a while that she lived in, like say the hood, she was in South Central Los Angeles, and she left because it's not the thing that pisses me off about that area. It's not, it's still expensive to live in. I live in North Orange County now, and it's almost the same as living in South Central as far as price goes. So I'm like, why the fuck is everybody still there? They don't need to be there. I'm talking about living in a place where there's barred windows on all of the fucking houses, thick bulletproof glass on all the liquor stores and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of people want to stay in their general area, but it's just like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Sure.
And that's one thing that like, I try to advocate and talk to people and say, hey man, I think there would be much better race relations. Everybody would stop blaming XYZ, blaming the white person or some shit like that. If we just kind of like, hey man, you're making $10 an hour, you can still live over here. It's gonna be fucking a little bit tougher, but you can still live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you don't have to live. You don't have to live where you're gonna possibly get shot for walking the street at 12 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
do you think? But do you think that has a lot to do with community? I mean, when my family immigrated from Ireland, turn of the century, for basically up until after the Second World War, they stayed in an Irish community, and most of the communities that they're from, they're still like this in New Jersey. You have the Italian side or the Polish side. Do you think it's tough to leave an area like that? Maybe there's like some security there.
I think there's that whole I think there's more. I think it's more peer pressure than anything.
Yeah,
I think
really?
it's like that you get. People will talk shit to you for leaving. You leave the hood, you leave your hometown, and they will just say, "Oh, you're a sellout, you're a piece of shit, you're this and that," and they just want you to stay here. But I'm like, why?
Yeah,
why,
really.
man? I'm like, if it's all good, well, why leave? If it's all good. But if you're dealing with shit like this, man, like I remember I was talking to this dude, I worked with him, and he was saying, he's like, I'm pretty sure, he's like, I'm probably not gonna make it out of my 30s because all the shit that he's into, and I'm just talking to him like, what the fuck? Dude, just get do you want to live? And he's all, well, yeah. I'm like, then fucking get out of the area.
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying? Like, he's just accepting it. Like, and I imagine there's a lot of people over there that are just accepting. They're like, well, yeah, I'm doomed. This is how it is. This is life. Man, I remember because I lived in South Central for a while, and I got off at a bus stop, and two stops after, there was a drive-by, and a few people got shot on that fucking bus. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me, man? Like,
fuck this.
Why am I here? So
Do you think there's a fear that they won't be accepted in new communities with whites?
Yeah, I think there's a stigma there. I think there's from what some of my extended family would tell me when I was young.
Yeah.
that I feel like say, yeah, there's a lot of people that are being told the same thing, and that like, oh, don't trust these people. Oh, they're this, they're that, and then so they're like, oh, fuck that. I'm not gonna move out of here. I think it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be awkward. And I can tell you, like, it was never like that for me.
Yeah.
I never, when I moved out, it was. I didn't know there was such a thing as like just racism until I got into probably like 7th or 8th grade. That's when people started kind of getting more weird, and I'm like, why are people saying this, or why are people talking shit in the way that I dress? Because I just wore like regular fucking clothes. I didn't wear any cool ass urban shit. I didn't wear a FUBU or the
I remember I remember FUBU. Yeah, I remember that shit.
Yeah, like so.
What was it? Echo. That was probably another one for you, right?
Echo
You're 29, yeah. Because I was in my mid-20s and wearing that shit. So that means you were in middle school.
Yeah. Fat Farm shoes, man. I don't know if you remember those.
Fat Farm, yeah. So for you, my 20, like I guess you were into Korn and Limp Bizkit, and you probably started off in Deftones and stuff like that. You were you were like the fucking 13-year-old kid that was digging that shit back in '98 or so.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I got yeah.
Well, dude, we were going to the shows, dude. I was like 24, 25, and we were like going to all those shows. I saw them all back then, man. I saw all those bands.
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I regret. That's dope. That I saw Korn one time because actually, right down the street from where they had a free show at the Best Buy. They were just like, this is kind of our hometown. Some people grew up from there, and that was in 04, and that was the shit, man. I was 16 and seeing like that was like one of my favorite bands at the time, but I never saw any of those other fucking bands.
I still wear tracksuits, dude. I never stop. I'm 40 years old. I still rock the tracksuits. I even have my because Korn they didn't get a deal from Adidas and they switched to Puma tracksuits about halfway through. I think around 2000. So I got my original Korn blue Puma tracksuit too. So I never gave up, bro. I'm still holding on. But when I go out with my family, I don't dress like that and shit. I don't want to get made fun of. But yeah. Yeah, actually, that's the thing I was doing. So you're a metal guy. What's your what got you into metal and what gets you moving?
Oh man, this is I love telling people this because they think it's the funniest shit. How I got into metal was the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, the soundtrack. It was
but most of that was techno metal. That was like a lot of techno.
No. There was a lot of techno and a lot of house or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there was straight up metal in there too. Like say there was a band called Fear Factory.
Of course,
and
I know them, yeah.
And there's the fight between Scorpion and Johnny Cage where it's just straight up just riffing, and I'm like, God, that sounds fucking dope.
Yeah, right.
And
like that.
So I just started, on the dial-up, started doing some research, seeing who these fucking people are.
Really?
And I didn't even realize it was a thing for black people to not really be into metal when I was like young, because I was only like 7 when that came out. So I remember talking to one of my family members and like, oh, you're into heavy metal? I didn't even know it was called that. I didn't know it was called metal.
Okay.
But since there was such a stank on saying that, like, oh, you like heavy metal? I was like, no, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But yeah, it turns out I was digging the fuck out of that shit.
If you were, because I grew up listening to a lot of metal, so if you were a black guy post or pre Korn Limp Bizkit, it was hard for you. If you were a metal guy, it wasn't easy, right? But I think a lot of that changed around 98, around 99. I think it's a little more common and there's not as much stigma. One of my best friends, Real Talk, Metaphor Messiah, I don't know if you know him. He co-hosts with me sometime, and he's a pro. He's got a few albums out. He's got a contract in Vegas. He performs regularly. I mean, it's funny. He's a straight hip hop artist, but there is just nothing he doesn't listen to, and it's going constantly for inspiration and to push out the next song, because you're with hip hop you're a little less limited on what tracks you can pick, whereas in metal you better be heavy, you better be drop D and fucking riffing all over the place. Where I think you're a little less restrained because essentially you're rapping on the thing. But most hip hop artists are listening to rock. It's a lot more common with I notice that guys that are into hip hop don't listen to metal. Guys that make hip hop listen to a lot of different music, including metal. That's the way I always saw it. But I don't think that's as hard now as it might have been 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, definitely. There was like, say, first before I get deep into this, I just want to say that Chris Reagan, you're absolutely right. Nickelback is the heaviest metal band that is out there. It's pretty fucking amazing.
Drop D.
Yeah, but Drop D, baby.
Did they play
No,
Drop D anyway? See, like I stopped because I've been playing since I was 14. I've played guitar because everything had to be Drop D after Rage Against the Machine. Because Morello dropped D, and then everybody else started downtuning after that. They don't do that anymore because I don't listen to much metal. I mostly listen to hip hop now.
Oh, dude, let me tell you about dropping, man. Because when my peak of being into metal, it got into this genre that a lot of people fucking hate, or at least a lot of people that listen to death metal, they hate it. It's called deathcore. It's the marriage of death metal and hardcore. Okay. And I like real legit deathcore. I fucking love. Like there's like a band called Carnifex. You check them out. That's or Whitechapel, old school Whitechapel. These guys are fucking amazing. Now the thing is, I was in a band that actually they got signed to Metal Blade. You know, fucking really prestigious metal label.
Oh yeah,
you know, like Cannibal Corpse and all that shit. Yeah. I dropped out of that band. This band called We Are the End right before they got signed to Metal Blade. But I still went on tour with them. Fucked around, sold some shirts. Nice. And this was the era of that you downtuning. You're not if you play in C. You're a pussy. If you play in B, you're a pussy. It needs to be in fucking A or lower. Like people are dropping to A. I'm talking about a 6 fucking A, dude. Yeah. And let me just tell you something. I just bought because I just started getting back into because I've been playing drums and guitar for like 10 or so years, or whatever the fuck. And I just bought another 6-string, and there was a band that I wanted to cover, and I was like, oh, the song sounds dope. And then I just started really listening to it, and it turns out they're in drop fucking F, dude.
Oh, how the fuck do you do that? That's crazy.
It sounds like it's so heavy that I think it's like only
it's
like
gurgling
could fucking hear that shit, dude. Like it's like
all they need is a 7-string guitar and drop it there. Then you're really going down, right?
I was pretty pissed off that because I wanted to cover it, and I was like, you can't do it with the 6-string. It just sounds like wobbly fucking spaghetti. Yeah. And so people are getting, I don't know, they're
dropping even lower is what you're saying now.
Yeah, they're dropping way lower. I prefer a B. I prefer it because you know, I don't care what anybody says. I was balls deep into like when Slipknot debuted. Yeah. Nothing like that ever. There was nothing. I mean, nothing like that has ever been fucking nothing. Even to this day, that was the strangest, most interesting, captivating shit. Like their debut album. The one afterwards pretty cool too, but it's just like
heavy music that grooved that could make you dance. I mean, that's it. It was a unique time.
Oh, they played in B, so that was kind of like where I stayed. I like to play in you know, that's so I like it moderately heavy.
Moderately heavy. Oh yeah. All right. Is my favorite subject. Chicks getting laid out of YouTube. Be honest.
It's not as Look, okay, I can just say that there's opportunities, right?
Yeah.
There's opportunities. However, I'm being very conservative right now. Okay. Mainly because
what are you, none?
Mainly all right, so no, I kind of you know, I don't care. I can get really personal, but sure. I just like a few months ago, I actually was living in Greece, and I had I was staying with my girlfriend. Well, she's now my ex-girlfriend, but I was staying with her, and then things didn't work out so well. So once I came back over here, I've been trying to just focus on YouTube and focus on just getting back in shape and all that stuff.
She broke your heart, bro. Say it.
She
broke your heart, bro. I'm Dr. Tommy C. I understand these things. You can say it. She broke your heart. It doesn't make you a beta. She broke your heart. You can say it right here. Anyway, it's funny.
I wouldn't say like she directly broke my heart, right? Not like she did something that totally just killed me, right? Yeah. Shit has happened to me before, man. The last relationship I was in before.
You miss her.
I say, yeah, of course.
You miss
her,
man. It's okay.
Of course.
I'll get you through this. I'm doing love phones right now.
Here's the thing, man, and it's not. Here's the thing that makes it kind of fucked up for me, because she's in the communities that I'm in. Like, say she was, and she's gaining popularity and stuff like that. So I still see her around. Like she's befriending Shoe on Head, right?
Wait, yeah, it's not her, is it?
No, it's not her. No, not her.
Dude, you would have been fucking God in my mind. I would have just played the rolling credits right here if that was the case. Please go ahead.
What do you mean? Like she's with the skeptic, armored skeptic?
Is she? She's fine. I don't care if she's with 2 armored skeptics. That's fucking. She's fine. But go ahead, finish up.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying. All I was saying is that she's becoming like cool with like all these pretty prestigious people, right?
Sure, I got you.
So I still, if it was up to me, I was like, oh, I just kind of wanted to just not see that shit all the time because it's still
It's tough.
Yeah, it's I'm like, but whatever.
No, I know what you mean.
But
I joined the army because I couldn't go to the fucking Taco Bell in my fucking town without thinking about my ex-girlfriend. So I know exactly what you mean. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Worked out. Look where we are now. I'm talking to some black guy, famous YouTuber. How many subs do you have right now?
Like over 170,000, I think.
Jeez.
Yeah, over 100, like 170 something.
It's good shit, man. It's good shit.
Yeah.
I want to take you because we're coming to an end. I didn't take any calls. I'm gonna pop somebody in. If you want to call 718-395-7660. If you don't get an answer, just keep ringing. Just keep ringing. Let's bring in Super Tropes. You're on the air with Some Black Guy. Boy, I hate saying that because I want to be a sophisticated white man. But you're on. What you got for us, Tropes?
My main question is, Some Black Guy. What do you think about politics? Right now, there are a lot starting to alienate people with their super leftist or super right agenda, which, the right agenda is really kind of rare, but it's still there.
I think you were cut off at some point. Just rephrase the question.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's just what do you think about politically driven movies, like movies that are trying to sell you an agenda very aggressively?
I really do not. I mean, there's a place for them, sure. Especially, so I think documentaries are for really to really get your point across, and I think it'd be very moving. When it comes to, like, say, these big ones, when you have these these big box office blockbusters or whatever, and then they try to use this to just really drive home their political ideologies, I think it's fucking cancer. It's I go to the movies to be entertained. I'm not trying to think about some real shit or whatever. It's just put guns in it and some fucking kung fu and leave the politics out, dude. Like, I don't want to.
We were separated at birth, dude. We were fucking separated at birth. I used to go to fucking right next to Hot Topic, by the way. I used to go to the record store, and they had all the way in the back. They had the Wu-Tang collection, and I'd buy those fucking VHS tapes for $5 a pop. Shit,
Fuck yeah, dude.
They're all downstairs. I can't play them because nobody has a VCR anime. But I hope that answered your question, Super Bro. So I'm going to move it in now because we got a lot of people trying to call. Me and you were separated at birth. We should start a band, dude. You want to move to Germany?
Well, funny you say that real quick. I was supposed to go to Germany. But then I came back here.
Oh, get out. You would have loved it here, dude. I'll tell you why you'd have loved it. You would have forgot about that girl of yours. You know why? Let me tell you something. I was in the army fucking 6 years. German women love black men, and they will throw themselves at you because you are an exotic treat. This is how I know this. I would hang out and go out with the black guys in the army because I'd take their sloppy seconds because they were so fine. You need to come here, and you play music on top of it. I told Real Talk, leave the chicks at home because he's coming here next month. He's going on a German tour, but you would love it here. And I would have a friend.
One of the last girls I got involved with, she was actually from Germany.
From Germany,
and I totally understand. She's a knockout.
They dig black dudes, man. They dig black dudes over here.
But whatever, she fucked me over, so fuck her. Whatever. Next call.
409. You're on the air with Some Black Guy.
Yeah, I actually have a question. It's kind of random, but you're really into metal and all that. Are you into classical music too, by chance?
Oh my God, yes,
really?
So much so.
It's such a stereotype.
It goes hand in hand. It really does, especially a lot of us. You gonna say something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say it's such a stereotype to me, at least with people I know. Everyone that I know that's into hip hop and everything are really into poetry and stuff like that, and everyone that's a metal fan, that's a friend of mine, is really big into classical music. So I just wanted to randomly ask the question.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair question, and it's actually some of my most favorite music. I love listening to a lot of Baroque stuff and a lot of I absolutely love Mozart. Like love Mozart. Fuck Beethoven. It's all about Mozart.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. We're getting fucking real right here. But with a lot of metal bands, it's like a huge influence. It's a huge influence. Like some of my favorite bands they use a lot of these classical scales. They use a lot of harmonic minor, which I love. It sounds like that Egyptian shit. So fucking good, dude. So good.
Well, you also take guys like Randy Rhoads and I mean, God, all the guys in Rush. That's not a band I like, but I have nothing respect for their abilities. These guys are all classically trained musicians. So I don't think it's like, I think once you get into the realm of musician, you got a pretty diverse music audience, you know. I mean, and I'm sure if you went to Juilliard right now, you'd find a couple cats that dig the Ramones, you know. Don't worry, I'll get you out of here. But did that answer your question?
Yes, that's all I was really calling for. It was
All
out
right.
of curiosity. Thank you, guys.
Good question. Out of left field, but I'll take it.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Next question,
Next
please.
question. We probably should have done a whole show with questions.
yeah,
I got to
cool.
split. I got to split. All right. Newest whaler, you're on the air.
Oh, hello.
Yes, you're on with Some Black Guy.
Yes, some black guy. I haven't seen all of your videos, but what do you think about this whole Candid bullshit? You know?
Candid, like the app.
Yes.
About
like
I actually
Explain this to me. Just keep me in the loop. I don't know. What happened.
some people make the ads for this app, and they kind of not lied and signed contracts. There's a whole lot of drama in the skeptic community. You know?
I don't know anything about this.
Okay, yeah, Candid. It's okay. So Candid's an app, right? And they originally started promoting themselves as like a free speech app. They're like, hey, no one's gonna like ban you from here. It's free speech. So they reached out to a lot of people and they started selling their product, right? Started advertising, and then it came out that Candid wasn't so friendly like that, free speech friendly. They actually had an AI bot that like. That bans a lot of stuff, a lot of hate speech, as they called it.
Yeah, right.
And so there became a huge controversy. But then people started coming correct and saying, well, this is what Candid really is. And it became a huge fucking thing, a huge deal. People were getting so triggered that if you support these guys, you're like the goddamn devil. So me, I actually, and a lot of people don't know this, but way back, I was really skeptical, but I was really interested. And I was like, I'm going to try this app because everyone's freaking out about it. Simultaneously, one of those people hit me up and said, hey, we'll pay you to try out the app. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, right.
I needed money. I was helping my mom move and she needed some money. So I was like, fuck yeah, I'll take this shit, man. Like, this is perfect. And the app isn't bad, dude. I don't use it anymore because I don't give a shit. I hardly use anything anyways. But if you're into that shit, if you're into like, you know, anonymous posting, because that's all it is, it's anonymous and you talk shit anonymously, and then but people are like, oh, I want free speech, and it's not that. So I'm like, well, if you don't want it, then don't use it, man. There's a lot of shit that I don't use. There's a lot of people always trying, oh, get on my Discord. I'm like, I don't fucking care about Discord, dude. I barely care about Skype, dude.
Hey, don't say bad things about Discord. I'm wearing the shirt and I'm partnered. Come on, man. Give me a break.
I know.
Hey, listen, I know you're doing good things. I know you're doing good things, but I'm losing subs. Come on, help me out here, please, Some Black Guy.
I'm just fucking around.
All right, thanks.
I saw that, but what I'm saying is, I'm just what I'm saying though. Anyway, in a nutshell, people were saying that people are shilling. The proper definition of shilling, like you're endorsing something with not actually you don't like it. You're just doing it for the money.
Sure.
And me, I was just straight up honest about it. Where I don't think it's a big deal. People were making a big deal about the AI and saying that this thing is going to be used in a lot of other shit. I'm like, dude, things have AI already. They're already doing their shit. Facebook, Twitter, all these things are already doing all these shady things, shadow banning. Yet you're using all of these platforms as well. Shut the fuck up, dude. It's a small, insignificant app that no one gives a shit about anymore. I can't it was such a shit show that people were just trying to just blow it up into something because they're bored, you know. And that's you don't even know about it. That's how insignificant.
It sounds important. I mean,
like,
it does. But I gotta, it does frustrate me. But if I was running YouTube, there's gonna be no white power bullshit on it's my fucking shit. That's not happening. And I gotta be honest with you. I think I'd throw the commies out too, like the SJWs. I think they're just in a different end of the paradigm there. So I don't really have a problem with them censored. But if you're going to say, this is straight up free speech, you're going to attract the Ku Klux Klan types eventually. And I think what happens is these business models, they think, okay, we're going to sell free speech. Everybody wants free speech, right? But that does come with a tag. It comes with a price. And if you have like crazy right-wing nuts writing stuff on your app, it does bring the whole value of the product down. So I think there's got to be some censorship within reason. But I think what we're dealing with now is the SJWs are using just what I said to censor opposition, which is completely different. All right, buddy. Thanks for the call, man. I do appreciate it. Let's get one more. Newest Wheeler. He, I don't know. He always says rotten shit. My fans send rotten shit to me. You know that? Yeah, I'd get rid of you, commie C. I'd get rid of you. You're not even a communist, you're just a troll. Most of you guys are trolls. All right, one last call. I think I'll take it off the phone number. I wanted to thank you ahead of time for coming here and doing this. I do appreciate it. I hope I experiment with big YouTubers to become a better interviewer because I'm pretty fucking terrible at it, to be honest with you. But I like doing it, so whatever. What can you do?
Hey, it's been good. It's been fun, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Last call. 310 on the phone line. Some black guy. Give it to me.
Thanks very much. Some black guy. I love your work, bro. I've been following it since the Unnamed podcast, and then you changed it to Horse and Egg. Pretty.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's how far I go back following you. Like,
you were in a podcast a couple years ago?
Yeah, a while back I had a podcast I was actually thinking about resurrecting. It's called Horse and Ape. Like if you type in Horse and Ape, you can find it. It was I enjoyed it, and now that I have better equipment, it can be better because the audio was fucking shit, but it's still fun. It's fun.
You made some money on YouTube and you know what you're doing. I know what you mean.
Yeah. Also, I want to ask you, if I dare run to do noise, what's your favorite flavor of pancakes, Go?
Oh, you fucking prick. Get out of here. That's a fucking a troll of mine. You prick, dated Brian. I hate you. Blowing you up. That was one of my trolls. With his fucking pancake jokes.
Give me some insight on that. What the fuck was that?
I have a lot of idiots that call me, and some of them I call friends. He looked something up about you, and then he went on, and then he asked you if you like pancakes. That's like his whole bit, and he's been doing it for 3 months now, and he still thinks it's funny.
Dedicated. I like that. That's hold on to those people, man.
Let's see. Is there anything else? I think we covered just about everything. Smoke the Bear wanted to get on, but I don't see you in the Discord, buddy. And if you call the phone number, you're randomized. So I don't think I can help you. I don't see you in my fucking Discord. And I promised this man an hour, and he's 2 minutes over. And I think I'm done. Derek, thanks so much for being a part of this. I do appreciate it. I hope you did have a good time. Welcome back anytime, even if you just want to rap on a YouTube drama subject. You want to sit in this chair. Well, it's your chair. You're more than welcome to do that. All right?
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it. Also, let Colossal's Crazy know. Let Clown know that his video was
dope.
Just wanted to put that out there. It was fantastic. Worth the wait.
Yeah, I think so too. Let me ask you, what do you think of that? Like, it's been mostly positive, but I don't know, because I guess I'm a negative person. I get a lot of negativity. How do you feel about these guys that are just like constantly clobbering them over the head, or about not putting stuff out like every other day or anything? I mean, we're not all this tape. He's a different type of creator. I don't understand. Where do you think this comes from? I don't know.
Well, it's just people. I think it's how the media works nowadays, where people get so much shit all the time.
Yeah,
they're so used to that. So something that they really enjoy, they want more of it, and they want it instantaneously.
But it can't be done. Do we expect a movie from Steven Spielberg every day? I mean,
exactly. I say, like, there's great videos. There's some stuff takes time. And there's some people that can make like shit every day or whatever, and cool, that's the route they go. But there's a lot of people that can't do the same thing. If they do, it's going to be complete shit. It's going to be garbage.
Is the guy behind you a Samoan WWE wrestler? I just checking.
That dude gets that shit so much.
He pointed at me, and I pointed right at him. Just let him know. All right, I got to get out of here. Some Black Guy, thank you very much. Make sure you like, sub, and share, spread it around, and make sure you sub Some Black Guy. If you're into commentary, if you're into hard rock, and if you're sick of SJWs, this man is your man. He's one of the best guys in the business, and he's outside of the Brotherhood, which makes him even better. I don't know if you even know who the Brotherhood is, do you? You don't, do you? Don't worry about it. We get out of here. Thanks for the donation. Thank you very much, everybody, and good night. See you tomorrow.
This is the almighty infinite, independent excellence. Devil fighting, rebel titan, weed smoking alchemist. Fake identities, okay, you cool with Jason Bourne. Running with these Wolverines, okay, you about to catch a storm. I ain't never been a liar, got tired of niggas playing me. Head in my legs like like she bout to catch a pedigree. Chi-town to King's home, slapping fives, black stones, 6 mile to danger zones. Bullets look like waffle cones. Folk affiliated the evolution of Machiavelli. Don't make me lead them eagles to you like I'm Chip Kelly. They feel my struggle, I express it through my hip hop. I'm about to make it hard to breathe. Here's a headline.
I didn't ask you about sports.